Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. It's game week. Johnny Venerable, Bo Brock, is the Dallas Cowboys and their fan base coming to State Farm Stadium. Bo Brock, what do our Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon need to do to shut up Big D at State Farm Stadium come Sunday?
It's pretty simple, right? Play better than the first two teams the Cowboys have played this season. The New York Giants, the New York Jets. They're beating up on the Big Apple. That's what Dallas Cowboys have done. They've outscored their opponents 70-10. Dak Prescott, that Cowboys offense, they haven't turned the football over. They've just been a wagon. And it actually starts more with the Dallas defense, which has been so impressive, flying around, but they're going to be down at least one key member of that defense. Can the Arizona Cardinals take advantage of that? You know, that's something we're going to break down. What's the path to a competitive game? What's the path to a potential upset? Could Dallas maybe get caught looking ahead to a big matchup coming down the road with the San Francisco 49ers? There's a lot of things at play here.
Can the Arizona Cardinals play mistake-free football offensively for the second consecutive game, limiting their turnovers and then also limiting that Dallas Cowboy offense from going off like Danny Dimes and company? I mean, you watched the Giants last night against San Francisco. That's what it should have looked like for 4 quarters last week. Can the Arizona Cardinals and the Jonathan Gannon, Nick Rallis defense, Bo Brock, pick themselves off the mat and get back to playing competitive defensive football that they played for the first 6 quarters of the NFL season? Because I do think that this Dallas offense lends itself to some of the things the Cardinals want to do defensively. Dak Prescott's been known to make mistakes. Their offensive line is, I would say, relatively average, right? I mean, Zach Martin's older. They've got some older players. This is not a unit that's going to be, road grading the Cardinals, I think, left and right. But goodness, when you look at CeeDee Lamb and what he's been able to do these first 2 weeks, that's going to be the focal point. Is can Keitrell Clark and or Marco Wilson plus a little Jalen Thompson, I would imagine, slow down number 88? It's a tall task for the Cardinals defense.
It's going to be huge. And, the Arizona Cardinals have won the turnover battle the last 2 weeks. They have. I mean, I know they had 2 crucial ones in the first game, right? But then they have 3 turnovers to 2. And then they had they forced the 1 turnover last week, but it wasn't, the offense sputtering and coughing up the football for the Cardinals that caused that. It was just the defense couldn't make a single stop in the second half. There was 5 drives, 4 touchdowns, and a field goal, the go-ahead field goal for Danny Dimes. And it's like, when you watch last night, it's hilarious. You see the videos of Danny Dimes. He's at the line of scrimmage looking across at the San Francisco 49ers defense. And it looks like when my wife asked me who ate all the Oreos out of the pantry and I have no answer for her, there's just fear in my eyes and know that I've been caught and I'm in for punishment at that point. Yeah. But the Arizona Cardinals have to find a way to get stops, and it's a daunting task when the other side of the football is way better than the previous 2 weeks. I mean, it's Dak Prescott, who's as accurate as any NFL quarterback right now. He's not really throwing the ball downfield. And then you've got the skill position players like CeeDee Lamb. You've got Brandon Cooks, who probably will play. And then you've got Michael Gallup as well, and Tony Pollard. I mean, and in an offensive line that the front starters, when they're healthy, are not allowing any pressure. I mean, how are they going to be successful? They've got to put forth a kind of like an effort that nobody expected. Like guys like Dennis Gardeck, guys like Zaven Collins, Victor Dimukeje, the pass rush, they're going to have to be disruptive against a pretty solid offensive line from Dallas.
You guys are crushing it in the chat. I don't know if you're crushing it with optimism or realism. Didi's saying there's no chance we're winning this game. Arizona Animal, I don't see a great Cowboys team. It's just hype. I think it's a little bit of both. I think like the Cardinals are not as bad as their record, and the Cowboys aren't as good as their record. Like, but I'm not going to sit here and say that the Cowboys don't have more talent than the Arizona Cardinals in the year 2023. Of course they do. That would be ridiculous, even with the injury to Diggs, to suggest otherwise. I do think, Bo, you hit the nail on the head. This is the point I was going to bring up. The pass rush for the Cardinals, can they win their one-on-one matchups on the edge? Because I think you've got serious limitations right now at defensive tackle. Like Ifotu, hopefully he's going to play. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. But
yeah,
like, can this be a game where you see some flashes from somebody like B. Joel Ojulari, who's seen his snap count rise each of these first 2 weeks? Is this a game where Zaven Collins really, after a solid first 2 weeks, puts it all together? It's like a half a sack to 1.5 to 2 sacks in a singular game. You mentioned Gardeck, Victor Dimukeje, two of the best, unsung stories of the season thus far. Like,
yeah,
you can win a game if you're just whooping on the opposing team's tackles. And then on the flip side, it is going to be imperative that Josh Dobbs gets the ball out quickly, that the Cardinals are not hanging around in their own backfield for 5 seconds, 4 seconds. I mean, it's quick throws and it's quick runs. Anything delayed in the backfield, that BS they tried to run with Keontae Ingram 2 weeks ago, stop all that. Micah Parsons, and I don't care, the Cardinals' offensive line has played well, will wreak havoc in the backfield against this Cardinal team. They have to be going north and south, limiting his opportunities to dominate the line of scrimmage.
No doubt about it. And you have to come out and you have to do what the previous teams haven't been able to do against Dallas on offense. You can't go out there and do 3 and outs like the Jets did last week. You can't cough up the football like Danny Dimes did in week 1. And really, Dallas has set the tone defensively and set their offense up in back-to-back games where they've faced virtually no adversity. No adversity offensively. Dak Prescott's been back there, clean pockets, just playing with a lead and really not having any issues. And if Joshua Dobbs and this Cardinals offense can be productive, if they can string together a couple play drives, if they can string together points for that matter, and I know that's asking a lot from a guy making his 3rd straight start for the first time in his career as kind of a journeyman before his stop here in the desert. But, you can be better than Zach Wilson. I don't think that's saying much. And you can be better than week 1 Danny Dimes, even though he looked like Patrick Mahomes against this Cardinals defense in the second half. Yeah, we won't. We're going to admit that the second half actually happened last week. But you can offensively, you can help out your defense a ton by just taking care of the football and putting together drives and just moving the chains a couple of times. I mean, we're not asking for a lot here. And once you do that, then you can put your defense in position to do for the first time this season, put this Cowboys offense in a spot to face some adversity for the first time. Like, the old cliche in boxing, right? Everybody's got a plan until you punch in the mouth. Like, let's punch the Cowboys in the mouth offensively for the first time all season and see how they respond. Now, it could be bad, but let's see what it looks like.
See the super chat $4.99. Thank you so much to our guy. It looks like Boar on the stream. What's up with Cam Thomas? Had high expectations for him this season. Has he played himself out of the rotation? I don't know if he's played himself out of the rotation, but I 100% echo this comment. Cam Thomas was my pick to lead the team in sacks this year.
Yeah.
I thought he had a nice training camp. It certainly ended the season last year under a different regime on good terms. And like, I don't think he's fallen out of favor, Bo, but like he's been passed up by Dennis Gardeck and Victor Dimukeje. But the Cardinals, the good news is they rotate so many defensive linemen. He's going to get opportunities. But you've got Myjai Sanders right around the corner from hopefully coming back after banging up his hand. And B.J. Ojulari is on the heels of, I think, really taking off later this season. So, I mean, Cam Thomas, to me, if he can just carve out a niche where, he's generating some pressure. The problem was, like, last week when they were putting up SOS flags, somebody help us, somebody make a play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where was he? Where was 97? That was a little disheartening for this team. Absolutely.
Yeah, outside of a scoop and score in week 1, we haven't seen 97 that often. He did step out on the field as a starter last week. He's going to be a guy that needs to kind of show up just as far as his play, because the other guys you mentioned, they've all flashed in some way, and Cam Thomas just happened to be in the right place at the right time in week one for the lucky kind of scoop and score that when it was happening in real time, I was kind of like, just fall on the football. But luckily he was able to kind of put it over the goal line for a big defensive score by the Cardinals on defense. But now you're looking for more violence, more kind of off the speed physicality, and there should be opportunities for it. And they feel like they're healthier and then in the teeth of the defensive line. We'll see if Lecky can go. JG told us today that he's trending in the right direction. He also said that Josh Woods was trending in an encouraging direction, but he ruled him out, and so did the injury report. But Lecky Fotu, he was out there all 3 days in practice, limited, but he seems like he should be good to go come Sunday, and the Arizona Cardinals should have that, 5-man defensive rotation up front that they've wanted and has been successful, at least has been successful through, the first 6 quarters of the season.
Sports Hero $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Sports Hero. Been seeing you in the chat recently. Bo and Johnny, what's your score prediction for this game? I believe the Cardinals can shock the world. Cowgirls are known to blow it sometimes. Mm-hmm. We're going to get to our predictions later in the show. Here's what I will say, Sports Zero. I've seen people nationally treat this game like Alabama, like versus my alma mater, Illinois State. Like, no, this is the NFL. Like, upsets like this happen every year, happen seemingly like every month in the NFL. The Cardinals can absolutely win this game. They have been leading not only every half. We've done 2 halftime shows. They've led it both. They've led into the fourth quarter. They've had the league exiting out of the third quarter each of the last 2 weeks. So to sit here and say, the Giants looked bad last night. The Giants were within 1 touchdown of the 49ers for 3 quarters last night. Like, this league is predicated on such a small margin for error. Like, most of these rosters are closer than people think. Plus, you get them on the road. Bo Brock, you get them now. They have emotional, I would say, baggage as it relates to the Trevon Diggs injury. Because they're probably not thinking, well, how is that going to affect us against the Cardinals? How's that going to affect us, as you mentioned, against the San Francisco 49ers, later in the NFC East against the Philadelphia Eagles in the postseason, right? That's a perfect time if they're looking ahead to pluck them and have an upset on your schedule. So I think, I don't know if I'm going to pick them. We're going to get to that later, but I think like this anomaly, like they can't win. I don't believe that for a second. They should be 2-0 right now.
Not for the Cowboys, not Admiral Akbar. It's not a trap for my Star Wars nerd co-host.
Such a terrible. Come on, be a little bit more original.
Oh my God, really? You're gonna hit me with you've got your Pizza Hut cup that you're taking a sip out?
Can you do the voice?
It's a trap. Yeah, that's a good one. I think mine was better, to be honest with you.
Wasn't.
But look, I'm not gonna start throwing out more cliches though and more unoriginality as far as calling this. Any given Sunday that in the Arizona Cardinals have a puncher's chance. We talked about the margin for error and without Budda Baker and where their defensive line was, and it's not a talented group, and you're losing two starters through 2 weeks in LJ Collier and Carlos Watkins. Like, they're down big defensively, and they didn't have any room to spare. So it's like, you talk about the margin for error. I think they're even in the negative at this point. They're going to have to make some plays early in this game. And like I said, really kind of punch the Dallas Cowboys in the face. And offensively, like I said, they can help out as well by stringing together some possessions where they're holding on to the football. Because when you look at what Dallas was able to do early in that game, it was like, remember the 2021 Cardinals where they would just build big leads and just not look back, right? That's what Dallas has done. That's the game plan, right? So, what happened when things started to kind of trend the other opposite direction for that Cardinals team, right? You started to see tighter games. You started to see more mistakes made, and putting the pressure on a guy like Mike McCarthy, who I'm not sold on Mike McCarthy, because I still think like this offense hasn't been put in a position where they need to make plays, and he needs to kind of open things up as a play caller.
I agree. I think Mike McCarthy is incredibly limited what he can do with a head coach. I think if they had to choose, like, Dan Quinn is more valuable to me to this staff and to this team than Mike McCarthy is. Dan Quinn's defense has been fantastic. They really haven't had a poor defensive performance in a year's span. So can the Cardinals somehow shorten the field? Can they get a punt return from Greg Dortch? Can they get a Dak turnover and allow themselves to steal a couple possessions, steal a couple points? Because I think Dallas playing from behind is exactly where you want them to be. Dak Prescott's been known to force things. I love CeeDee Lamb. He can drop a pass or two. When Dallas is allowed to run downhill and play with the lead, to your point, the play action, you can boot Dak out. Tony Pollard's a very capable player. That's where the Cardinals will get in trouble because they're not. Yeah. Cardinals are certainly not built to play from behind. Like we have not really seen the Cardinals play from behind and have to go to Josh Dobbs for 2+ quarters and say, hey, keep us in this thing. They've had leads the past 2 games, and they've blown them. They don't know how to close games out, but I certainly think they are way too limited to say, hey, you're down 10 points in the first half, go rally this team. That's a horrible place for Dobbs and company to have to live.
Yeah. Remember when we thought like the secret is out about Dak, the Cardinals, when they were kind of sputtering at the end of the season in 2021, they went to Dallas. They got the big win against Dak and crew. And it was like, you don't blitz them, right? You win the game, you get sometimes coverage sacks. And I think that this defense is set up for that, where they don't have to blitz to create pressure. At least they were able to do that through the first 6 quarters of the season. Can they get back to that? And I think that they could have a lot of success potentially against Dak Prescott and get him off his spot, maybe have him for the first time this season, have a little bit of accuracy issues and turn him into, where we've seen Dak Prescott revert to a pedestrian caliber quarterback to sometimes below average. Like, can they do that without having to, get exotic with their blitzes? And they haven't done so far. Like, and I think with their rotation, if they can just stay healthy throughout this game, like, could they do that? Could they get, I don't know, I might be giving Vance Joseph too much credit for that performance, but that the defense played very well that day. Was it week 15 of the 2021 season? Can they use that as a bit of a blueprint to get, a competitive performance and shock the world on Sunday?
What a big play that game was Isaiah Simmons from behind punching the ball at Dak Prescott. And I think another Cardinal has an opportunity to do that. That's a foreshadowing for later in the show. But I want to ask you, Bo, how do the Cardinals stand from an injury standpoint as opposed to Dallas? Because I think this is the healthiest the Cardinals have been in a hot minute.
Yeah, and that was a great point, by the way. Mike McCarthy in his last 3 games against the Arizona Cardinals, dating back to Josh Rosen days, 2018. It was his final game as Packers head coach.
That game, by the way.
You were. So you saw Chase Edmonds score a couple touchdowns. The chosen one, Josh Rosen.
Jersey on that day. I was in. Thankfully, it snowed that day. I was in a box being spoiled. I got tickets to a family friend. I had my Rosen jersey on, and we were leaving the parking lot of the stadium at Lambeau. It's the only time I've ever been Lambeau, and it was on the radio that he'd been fired. Like, you should lose your job. You lose to Josh Rosen, 100%. You should not keep your job. He swept Kyle Shanahan that year, by the way, too.
That happened, and then also the Andy Dalton Monday Night Massacre, where it was like 38-9. Kyler Murray, I think he completed 9 passes, and they just bludgeoned the Cowboys. And then that game late in the season in 2021. So Mike McCarthy hasn't had too much success. Hopefully JG can continue that. His predecessors, Steve Wilkes and Cliff Kingsbury, were able to get the job.
No issues with old Mike McCarthy.
But that's why we're skeptical about old Mike McCarthy.
That's why
right?
That's why you can beat this team.
Right.
I watched Antoine Wesley had 2 touchdowns. I was at that game in Dallas, and
Antoine Wesley following this team around.
That's like Randy Moss in the end zone. Kyler Murray's playing in this game. I would feel much differently. But Dobbs. I'll tell you what about Josh Dobbs. What if we get to a point where he just looks better every week? Then I think a lot of people are going to be eating a lot of crow. If Josh Dobbs comes out, Bo Brock, this week against a real defense, maybe the best in the NFL outside of San Fran, and let's say a 60-65% completion, a couple tutties, doesn't turn the ball over, I think everybody in the media locally needs to apologize to Josh Dobbs because Colt McCoy would not last a quarter and a half against this Cowboy defense. I'm pretty well convinced if Colt McCoy started the season against Washington, he would not be with the active roster right now. Like Dobbs, to me, first of all, the team put out something awesome with Dobbs sharing a moment with a cheerleader. Go check that out on their social. Dobbs is so effing likable. I am. If Kyler Murray can't play, I want Josh Dobbs taking all the snaps. Guy is great.
All right, let's get back to the injury report. Producer Damon, can we see that? This was the final injury report of the week, and the Cardinals, the hits came early in the week when we found out that Carlos Watkins. They haven't officially put him on IR, which I find kind of puzzling because it sounded like, Jeremy Fowler had the report that Watkins was headed towards surgery, and then JG confirmed that in his press availability on Wednesday. He's just ruled out as of right now. We'll see if they want to utilize that roster spot kind of late in the game as far as that goes. Josh Woods out, still dealing with the ankle injury. As I said, JG feels like he's encouraged by Woods' progress. He wasn't out there practicing today, but he's trending in the right direction. So is Lucky Fotu, more trending in a potential to play in this game. He's questionable. And then Calvin Beachum remains on the injury report with a hand, but he's been a full participant. So you still have that depth on the offensive line. And then on the other side, not looking great. Of course, the bomb on Trevon Diggs that came out yesterday, torn ACL, headed towards surgery and headed towards not playing again until 2024. And then you look at these key offensive linemen who are both questionable. Is it Baddens? Am I saying Biadish? Sorry.
You were really close.
Well, thank you, bud. He was limited. He didn't practice. He suffered the hamstring injury, and so did Zach Martin. He had the ankle injury in last week's win. Hasn't practiced all week. I mean, those would be two key losses for this Cowboys offensive line. And then, they've got Terrence Steele at the right tackle position, who I think is the biggest liability on that. Once pretty proud, you're looking closely at that injury report on your screen.
You don't want to screw up a name like Bo Brackett.
It's I think that's those aren't injuries to be overlooked.
It's not nothing, but the Cardinals couldn't take advantage of no Andrew Thomas last week either, and the Giants lost a guard midway through that game. Like, do they have enough, ammo in their arsenal, for lack of a better term? I'm not a gun guy, but to get after Dak Prescott.
Free batter for the blind. Let me answer. Fingers crossed, no surprise injuries again this week. I mean, the Buddha injury had happened at this point. He was on the injury report, so they got through unscathed at least this week. Unlike last week where they didn't have any injury pop up on the final day of practice. Tomorrow, they'll have these mock games, they'll have these walkthroughs. There's unless somebody slips on the floor, there shouldn't be any surprise injuries.
Why would you even say that? Robert in the chat, I just ordered my number 9 jersey. I don't believe you, but if you did, my DMs are open. DM me when it arrives. We'll put the picture on the show next time. I want those Dobbs number 9 jerseys, in part because there a lot of people have number 9 Isaiah Simmons jerseys, and now potentially you convert them to a Dobbs jersey. Wouldn't hate that, but I can't one-on-one singular pressure without having to blitz, because Gannon I really don't think wants to blitz. He blitzed a lot as our guy Baldinger broke down in week 1, but last week we just weren't winning our one-on-one matchups. Frankly, they
didn't blitz a lot relative to the rest of the NFL.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So if Zaven Collins can win, awesome. B.J. Ojulari, Victor Dimukeje, Dennis Gardeck, where they're gonna have to make an adjustment though. If you're 2 quarters in and you're not generating jack shit, then you need to send some people, because I can't have a repeat performance. Dak is a better version of what Daniel Jones is. Dak's mobile and he's accurate, and Daniel Jones looked like peak Aaron Rodgers in the second half of last week.
He did.
You have to make him as uncomfortable as possible, because I do think that this game, Bo, could be decided in the first half. Dare I say, the first quarter. You can't let it get away from
with the last 2 Dallas Cowboys games. Yeah.
So the Cardinals gained confidence over the first 2 quarters in the last week, showing, hey, we can play with these guys.
Yeah.
If this very reminiscent to Kingsbury efforts last year, Bo, when it's 21-0 in the first quarter, the team, they don't pack it in, but it's tough to rally. You don't have the horses in the barn, so to speak. You don't have the talent to come back against this team down double digits at halftime, barring a horrific meltdown the Cardinals had last week. You got to be in striking distance at halftime, 3 to 7 points, to be able to say, okay, we're gonna make adjustments. Here's what we're gonna do, X, Y, and Z. But man, if they get to a point where they have to get away from the run game with James Conner, and it's poor Josh Dobbs doing 7-step drops, I worry about him. I worry about his health and his well-being. You got to keep it close.
Yeah, no, you do. You got to give yourself a chance. You really do. You can't let this thing fester, and if it becomes a 2-possession game by the end of the first quarter, that's tough. That's been tough to overcome, and the way that Dan Quinn's defense has been playing
Mhm.
It makes, even a 2-possession game seem insurmountable. And then Dallas is able to get into kind of their offense and closing games out. And you just don't want to do that. You've got to kind of flip the script on Dallas if you want to have the chance to steal one or keep it competitive till the final whistle.
Self-serving media, Elijah Wilkinson needs to play much better. I mean, I'd have a quick hook on him. Self-serving media, I don't think they are right now. But, I mean, who are you going to plug there? I think elevate Marquise Hayes and have him ready to go. But, again, that's where no John Gaines and no Dennis Daly really hurts this team.
I think it would be an El Manning kid that was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers and then picked up off waivers before the start of the season.
Was he a tackle coming out and they're going to kick him inside? Or was he always?
I think he was more interior. I think he was more of an interior guy. So he's listed right now as the backup at the guard position behind Elijah Wilkinson on their depth chart. But I mean, we'll see if it comes down to it. Hopefully it doesn't come down to it, because if it does, if number 11 is wreaking havoc on everyone, and that's what it's going to be. I mean, they're going to move Micah Parsons all over the place, and he's going to have a chance to beat him up, up the middle. He's going to be able to come off the edge, and it's going to be a nightmare. They're going to have to avoid that. But I'm sure they're looking at big number 65 at the left guard spot, and they're looking at the tape, and they're licking their chops like, hey, this could be the quickest path to putting Dobbs on his back or getting him to fumble twice like he did in week 1.
BetMGM right now. Your boy had a little bit of an evening. Cashed some.
You did, man.
Last night. It paid for a feast at the local Chili's for me and my kids. I unfortunately, everybody don't throw up in your mouths. I bet on the 49ers hard, and it paid dividends. I'm ready to reinvest it, though. Arizona Cardinal money line this weekend, not plus 200, not plus 300, not plus 400, plus 500 right now with our friends at BetMGM. Meaning, let's just say you go to BetMGM, use that bonus code PHNX. Let's say you put a 10 spot on that, right? That's half the time you get free bets anyway. 10 spot on BetMGM, 10 pays out $60. So again, like, you want to have some good mojo, plus 500 if you're thinking Dallas, and I don't think it's worth it. Money line's not going to help you. We're going to help you, though. Save a little coin, make a little coin with our friends at BetMGM. It's the bet 10, get 200. If you're a first-time user with BetMGM, guess what? Sign up with PHNX. The promo code, bet just $10. You're going to receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. I'm going to tell you right now, you get free money with BetMGM. Go big. Plus 500 with the Arizona Cardinals. I would be all over that as a little tasty nugget with some of my bonus bets. Download the BetMGM app or go to betmgm.com. Use that bonus code PHNX. Again, $10 gets you 200 right now on the app, on the website. Again, if you're not dabbling with BetMGM, I got my payout within seconds last night. I hit a tasty little nugget. You know what I did? 25, paid 129, wasn't even boosted. And I went with favorites. I went with C-Mac. I went with Debo, and I got paid big time. It's already in my checking account this morning because that's how BetMGM rolls. Check out the show notes for full details. And now check it out with our guy Shane Diefenbach, who's talking about it in the disclaimer.
Problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
It is pumpkin porter season at Four Peaks. Of course, they've got it on tap. They've got it in your Circle K's. They've got it at your local grocery store. It is pumpkin season. And of course, my co-host, the Pumpkin King, Johnny Venerable, knows all about that. He's cashing in. He's getting all that delicious nectar of the gods from Four Peaks, that pumpkin porter. Or if, pumpkin porter is not your thing, you like a nice IPA, they got the Hop Knot. They've got the Hazy. Or if you like a wheat beer, how about the number one wheat beer in the state of Arizona, the Joy Bus Wow Wheat. They got the Wow Light as well. It's so refreshing. And then, of course, you got the flagship Kilt Lifter. Love Kilt Lifter. If you love Four Peaks beer, and we all do, check out their location in Tempe on 8th Street. It's been around for 25 years. It is woven within the fabric of our great state of Arizona. Go check it out for yourself. Go check out all the games on football Sunday, and of course, college football Saturday. Four Peaks, synonymous with great beer and a good time. Also, they've got that unbelievable menu too, where it's appetizers, entrees, desserts. Pair it with all their delicious beer. Finish it off with a bourbon barrel-aged beer as well. It's so smooth. Great. At Four Peaks. Got to be 21 years or older. You can find it anywhere in the Valley, grocery stores, Circle K's, anywhere. Got to be 21 years or older. And, of course, ask that you do it and drink it responsibly.
I never want to say the game is secondary, but we covered this on our audio-only podcast. You should check it out now, PHNX Cardinals, wherever you get your podcast. It does feel like with the Kyler Murray news this week, Bo Brock, that the Dallas game is kind of taking like a sub-bullet to K1. That's why, I got my touchdown t-shirt on today. I'm fired up because while we don't know the definitive timeline for Kyler Murray, could he be activated, right? I mentioned the date, October 2nd, circling on your calendar. That's the day he can be activated from PUP. Exactly what, like 13 days from now, 10 days from now? I'm not good at math, but it could be upcoming. And Bo, you had a chance to chat with JG and company at the facility today pertaining to Kyler Murray, which is, I think they can sense it. The fans can sense it. Like we're closing in on a date in which Kyler Murray is going to be back at practice for the Redbirds.
Yeah, and I thought JG gave us some pretty good insight as far as where Kyler is. I mean, obviously he's not going to just say, hey, he's coming back this date, expecting to be in uniform on this date. But he gave us more information than I think we were expecting on the Friday before a game. We've mentioned on these days, he's usually dialed in. He's like Randy Johnson on days he's going to pitch. He's just kind of mean mugging and bulldogging everybody. But he opened up a little bit and answered some questions. And I think maybe our guy Howard Balzer put him in a friendly position because you can kind of hear the question and answer from our guy Howard on the first question about a timeline for Kyler Murray.
Howard, I get made fun of. I have like an iPhone 2, so I don't. I'm not all over TikTok and Instagram. I really don't. But yeah, he's. I don't know what was said or what whatever. But he's doing well, and we know the timetable of when he can return to play. But that doesn't mean that he's going to return to play and open his window then. But we'll get him going when he's physically and mentally ready to play, and knowing that it's going to take him some time and some weeks of practice to get comfortable with what he's doing. So I'm not in a hurry with that. Love to have him out there. He's itching to be back, but we'll take that one day at a time.
So the ladder there, I think, gives you some new information to this, right? I mean, he says, when his window opens, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's when we're going to activate him from the PUP, right? So he's that window opens in 2 weeks, 2 games.
October 2nd.
That's right. Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, he could be activated that Monday, and then the 21-day practice window opens. But the new information that Jonathan Gannon provided there was he's going to need some time to get ready. So the idea of Kyler Murray just being activated and then thrown into the starting lineup, I think Jonathan Gannon debunked that.
Yeah. I mean, hasn't this podcast been saying that for about a month? Like he has to have practice time. He's never taken a snap from Yell to Froholt that we're familiar with. He hasn't played under center before before high school. Like what? Walk people through, Bo, because you're there every day. Walk people through when they practice and what practice entails. Because, some people think practice, that's like 5 days, 6 days a week. That's not the case, right? They're like, are they off Monday? Is it film Monday? They're on the practice field Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Because again, it's probably max 3 days of practice for an entire week, like physical on the field practice with helmets, shoulder pads, whatever. Walk us through what that is.
Yeah, so Monday is kind of a film breakdown. They'll go through the previous game's film. They'll kind of point some things out. They'll have their meetings. They'll regroup. And then Tuesday, they're usually off. Like we have the Greg Dortch All Purpose podcast here. It's because Greg, it's the only day really of the week that he has off. and they don't have as many, maybe they can go in and they get treatment or something like that. But yeah, install doesn't really happen until Wednesday. Joshua Dobbs has broken it down before. They're working on first down, and then Thursday they're working on second down, and then on Friday they're working on third down, and then Saturday they usually do kind of a walkthrough. But really just 3 legit practices where they're going to have time to go through as much as you need to go through. So you're talking about 3 practices. So if he comes back, if he's activated October 2nd, they've got a game against the Bengals that following Sunday. He's only going to have 3 practices under his belt in a brand new system. And sure, he's been putting in the mental reps. And that's what he's kind of limited to outside of his rehab. He can't do anything with his teammates. He couldn't just jokingly throw a football to Hollywood Brown or get under center from Yelda Froholt. He can't do that at all. That is against the rules as far as being on PUP, IR, or the non-football injury list. So he has to just pretty much do everything within, film study, in the classroom, doing that. But everything else is just in the weight room, and as far as rehabbing with Buddy Morris and the training staff, everything else is away from his teammates. So 3 practices. What do you think? 6 practices at the very least for him to be ready to go?
I've been on the mindset Cincinnati is not realistic at this point because of that point you just made. Like, it's not enough time. And again, people want to point out, and I think I've done this in the past foolishly. It's like, well, Josh Dobbs only had like a day to practice. Josh Dobbs had a complete training camp, albeit with another team. Like, he was in football shape, running around, playing preseason games, and then they just brought him over here to a scheme that he had some familiarity with. Like, think about how long it's been since he's gone through a full practice. I don't know, maybe since last December when he got hurt. How many months is that? 8 months ago? And you're going to have 3 practices. He's going to be ready to play Cincinnati, and Lou Armadillo or whatever, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals. He's going to go out there and give you a better chance to win. That's probably part of it too. Does Kyler Murray not being prepared give us a better chance to win than Joshua Dobbs? They're going to have to decide that. They're going to have to look at both of the players in practice and say, we feel like we've got Kyler Murray ready to go to the point where he gives us a better chance to win. I think we're a little bit out from that. But again, that doesn't mean that you can't get excited about when he gets activated. Like, when he gets activated and he's a participant in practice, they're ramping it up to get him ready to go to play games. That's a big deal. It was why, frankly, like, I never wanted him to go on the PUP list to begin with, because this entire time, this entire month span to begin the season, he can't participate in anything at practice. What does that mean? Can't go through drills with the quarterbacks, can't take snaps, can't be a part of the team drills. He even can't have a watered-down version of that per NFL rules. He literally has to be by himself off to the side. He has to rehab the closed portion of practice. He's got to rehab. He's out there running around, and we can only reveal so much there. But to me, that was always the argument against it. Like, stash him away, allow him to have his own version of practice. But they opted not to do that. So by doing so now, you're putting yourself in a position where he's going to need multiple weeks. I think the earliest right now, realistically speaking, is week 6, potentially week 7. Like that. And that's unfortunate for when we think about where we were 2 months ago and they're putting out that teaser and he wants to be back week 1. Was that ever realistic? I don't know. But I mean, that's a big difference. And I wonder too if they regret how they've handled some of this, because again, they clearly regret the Josh Dobbs situation.
Wait, regret it in what way?
Well, like, what's the benefit of keeping him on PUP instead of like stashing him at the bottom of the roster and allowing him to have his own version of practice?
Because of the window. I mean, as far as the window of having to add him back on the active roster, because then that clock
burn a roster spot with Kyler Murray at like having his own version of practice.
I don't think I
feel like that's what the Bengals have done with Joe Burrow. Maybe it's bit him in the ass, but like Joe Burrow's been hurt this entire season.
It's bit him in the ass big time. And Kyler Murray isn't. I mean, if Joe Burrow he's gotten out there the last 2 weeks and potentially could get out there a third straight week, and it's entered his team. Like, Kyler Murray is. You don't want to start the clock. Why not just take the luxury? Give yourself 4 weeks. Get Josh Dobbs up to speed, and let him, play ball and not have to worry about when Kyler Murray is coming back. And no, I mean, they'll get him up to speed when they need to. And there was a question asked too, as far as when he is activated from PUP and he is back on the practice field. how do you get Kyler Murray back up to speed and get Joshua Dobbs ready for the Bengals, get ready for the Rams, get ready for the Seahawks? And Jonathan Gannon talked about kind of how you prep Kyler and get Joshua Dobbs the reps.
Yeah, I think we got a good plan of it. We structure practice in a way that's very competitive, that guys get the reps that they need to improve their game, while also covering the other things for the opponent. But we got certain periods there that it's not game plan specific too, so we can work on our game. I learned that from different coaches, and I always thought that was good, and we implemented that here. So, our guys know everybody on the active, everyone on the practice squad, reps are valuable as you get going through the year. Development just can't go away because you start playing games, so you still got to keep developing. So I feel good about the plan when he does get back. That's a really good question, Howard, of making sure that Josh is ready to go, and then Clayton's ready to go, and then he's getting his stuff too that he needs to start coming along.
Howard Balzer was on fire today. If you couldn't tell, Jonathan Gannon was loving his line of questioning. And he points out, how valuable reps are for guys. And that's probably a big reason of why Kyler Murray started this season on PUP as well. Just getting guys up to speed, Clayton Tune. And I'm really curious to see what it's going to look like. Like, is Kyler Murray going to be with Joshua Dobbs and Clayton Tune, the two quarterbacks that are likely going to be up on game day against Cincinnati if he is taking off PUP that week, or whatever week it is? Or is he going to be on the other side of the field with Jeff Driscoll and the practice squad guys just kind of getting reacclimated and just throwing passes to the practice squad receivers and tight ends?
I would go with the latter. I think he's basically going to be a relegated practice squad player until they decide, okay, this week you're going to prepare as a starter. I want to get to a comment here, Mike A, in the chat, because I think there's some truth to this within the fan base. Kyler blasting out his cleats, and they're bullshitting with the physicality and mentally rhetoric. That could be anywhere, even week 12. I do think that, again, they are trying to walk a fine line between teasing a comeback that hasn't happened yet, that started with the flight plan video, and then Hollywood Brown's comments. There's just no good way to handle this, because they go into this season, nobody knows for certain. They're trying to hype up the fan base. They want to get people excited about this team. And we're going to be sitting here, and there's going to be a couple weeks to go by, and maybe we still don't have answers. That's hard for a fan base. It's hard for a fan base right now that hasn't won a game at State Farm Stadium in almost a year, and 2 home wins in 2 years. That's winless on the season right now. You want that knight in shining armor to come in and play good football for you, but it's also but I'm hearing about Drake May and Caleb Williams. What am I supposed to believe as a Cardinal fan? Is this our future? Is this our future? What gives us the best chance to win? How are we going to, handle practice? You guys didn't draft him. Why do you even care? It's a unique dynamic, and I don't think they've butchered it by any means, but it was always going to be messy. And I think that's the theme of this entire Kyler Murray rehab saga, was when Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim were fired, and we knew this would bleed into the 2023 season. It was going to be difficult for Gannon and Austin Ford, no matter what they did, to be able to come out and navigate this perfectly, because it hasn't been perfect, right? There has been teases about him coming back sooner, now later, all season. I don't know what the benefit of that is. I think there was some hesitation to come out and basically say he's going to miss half the year. They don't want to say that, but
no.
if we're sitting here week 8,
they don't know. They don't know. And I think they've been as transparent as you possibly can be in saying, hey, this isn't linear. This is not something where hey, you progressively get better. You're going to be better on Friday than you are on Monday.
Do you think the team has been transparent though? Because again,
yes. But here's where it's going to get, and I won't doubt this, that they're going to, as soon as he gets activated, there's no slam dunk on when he's coming back throughout that entire process.
Clearly based on games.
And we've seen them with a Joshua Dobbs and a 5th round rookie quarterback, Clayton Tune, where all signs were pointing to Dobbs being the starter, them try to say, we're not going to name a quarterback due to competitive advantage. You can bet their ass they're going to do that again once they can when Kyler Murray is, and you don't know if he's going to be available game days or not when he's been activated. They're going to play that card, no doubt about it. I really don't think it's been as messy as you think it is. I think that they're just you really have to believe that this organization is just they haven't set any expectation. Sure, they have a flight plan, and that's the social media and the media side of things.
And Austin Ford, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do think there was some disingenuous hype that has kind of fallen on deaf ears about when he would come back. And
from whom?
From the team. Like, and you can lead fans astray with that when you're trying to sell
from whom though
people to fire it up about with the team, the media relations team. I mean, I for me, it's just like, especially
because they asked Kyler Murray when he wanted to come back, and he said the goal was week 1. Are you still crying over that spilt milk?
No,
that didn't happen. I mean, he tore his ACL December 12th. He had surgery on January 3rd with the little stitch in his meniscus, which had an extra ankle as far as the timeline.
I think how they handled the quarterback situation this offseason always kept the door open in their mind and fans' mind, like, he'd be ready to play. Goodness, they're not going to go with Colt McCoy. Had they signed like Gardner Minshew in March, everybody would know, like, okay, we understand the situation at hand, right? Like, I don't know. It just, to me, I probably would.
I mean, signing Dobbs, I don't think signing Dobbs in March would have signaled that either. Like, I don't think anybody, you couldn't have convinced anybody in March outside of Johnny Venerable.
Based off what we were hearing, like, I would disagree with that. This show is ready to do that. And that's part of the reason I'm chapped about this whole thing, is because they left, they tried out Colt McCoy for 4 months. It's just like, oh, okay, flight plan, let's go.
Yeah.
This is what we're getting. Free Mather for the blind, $5 super chat. We'll see how Gannon feels when they're 0-5. Put his butt in. Again, I don't disagree with that. And I think that's what makes these first 2 weeks so frustrating is the first
It's not
win,
that. It's not that at all.
The first win is the most elusive for a new regime. I know they're not going to do.
They don't have a Kyler Murray ace up their sleeve yet. Like, it's not there yet. He's going through his rehab, and he's going through different checkpoints, and he just hasn't gotten to the point where he's going to push them to put him into the game. And it's not going to matter if Joshua Dobbs performs or doesn't perform, or they're struggling at the quarterback position, or they don't have a win in week 5 or week 6
I know.
or week 7. They're just that's not going to play a part in this. And I think that when we talk about, expectations being set, they've said, and they've been, and Monty Ossenford said, as soon as he's 100% healthy, 100% mentally there, ready to go, they won't hesitate. They're not gonna in a rebuilding year, because they're 0-5, hit the panic button and throw number 1 out there. It's just not happening.
I am 100% mentally exhausted of this entire thing.
We're part of the you and I are to blame for that too.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok. You're posting his TikTok. I'm posting his Instagram. I mean, just there is no expectation, but there is something to be excited about. I mean,
sure. I can't wait to watch him play.
A bunch of idiots and yahoos were saying he wasn't going to play at all this season. That's not the case. We're talking about. We're debating when he's coming back, not if he's coming back.
Yeah, this song and dance with the pup and the removal and the practice, and I mean, just again, it's part of the process.
Day.
It is. It's already ruined my day. Man, I gotta do this show with you. You joker.
Shirt on. You're not celebrating. He's coming back tomorrow.
God, it's just a big tease. You know what? All I need to do is I need to get on the Game Time app and buy cheap ass tickets to this game against the Cowboys this weekend, because Josh Dobbs got my heart right now. $20 off your first purchase with promo code PHNX. Game Time, the only place I buy anything, tickets for events, sporting events, whatever. You're saying to yourself, I don't know if I want to go to the Cardinal game this weekend. Check the prices on Sunday morning via the Game Time app. I promise you will change your mind. Download the Game Time app now. Create an account. Use that bonus code PHNX. $20 off your first purchase. Again, we talked about it before. Not only tickets for the game, how about a parking pass? It is your one-stop shop, folks, for your game day experience. Game Time. I know you guys have heard about it. There are a lot of other ticket providers taking it in the teeth, and rightfully so, because I think they're here to scam you out of your bucks. Not our friends at Game Time. It is legitimately the best place to buy tickets I've ever seen online. I've been in this game a long time, right? I haven't been fortunate enough to ever own season tickets. I'm grinding every day, every week with you guys, trying to get tickets secondhand. Game Time does it better than anybody. Promo code PHNX, 20 bones off right now. Hell, that might pay for most of your ticket. Do it right now. Take the family out to State Farm Stadium And let's get this dub this weekend, Bo Brock.
I've got the solution to your Kyler Murray, is he coming back, anxiety problem. Our friends over at OG's. Just pop maybe a fruit or a cream gummy.
I need them all.
You're going to be feeling great. Our friends over at OG's, and use, of course, our favorite partner, one of our favorite partners, they've got the multi-flavor bags. You can figure out if you like the fruits. You got the creams, got the blackberries and cream, orange creamsicle, peaches and cream, or the red apple, watermelon, peach. They're all Hall of Fame flavors. Their full product line is on their website, ogsbrands.com, and they're in your local dispensary as well. You can go get your hands on them today. Go do it. Join the PHNX family in enjoying some OG's Brands gummies. Of course, Arizona's favorite cannabis kitchen. Check out all their flavors at OG's Brands. Follow them on your socials at OG's Brands. Find out when they're rolling out new flavors, limited time flavors like the one they had this past summer, which was fantastic, pink lemonade. You got to be 21 years or older to enjoy, and you can find them, like I said, that local dispensary. Johnny, pop 1, pop 2, and just relax for the weekend.
Let's get to some of these smart-ass comments in the chat. Jack Smith saying, blame Johnny for this Kyler Murray saga. Jose also saying, blame yourself. I'm assuming he's talking about me. Gandalf's Weed saying, Bo taking accountability like Gannon. Yeah, Bo's like a Gannon, sycophant. He's just out there, hey, I agree with everything you say. Hello, JG. No. Michael Evans, laugh out loud. It's going to be okay. Johnny, it's not going to be okay. I'm frustrated. I'm emotional. I wanted a dub by this point. I predicted this team was going to win their first 2 games, and they should be 2-0. The question then becomes, Bo Brock, can they get a dub this weekend against the Dallas Cowboys? It is prediction time here on PHNX Cardinals game preview. Typically, I let my co-host go first.
Wait, hold on. Before we get into the predictions, are we going to figure out where we're going to F and gut these guys meter, or do we want that afterwards?
I'm gonna gut you for interrupting me. Yes, go ahead. Get the gut meter out of here. We're 0-2 with the gut meter, so maybe
do we have we're gonna F and gut these guys clip?
That's a sad picture right there. I'm sad. That's my face during the Kyler segment when Bo's trying to talk to me about accountability.
We're gonna F and gut these guys meter. We were overflowing with we're gonna F and gut these guys last week.
They were gunning. It was a gut.
They were. They gutted them in the first half, and then they got gutted on the second second half. So we're just about 50% right now. We understand that the task that is coming in the State Farm Stadium is one of the hottest teams in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys. So we're gonna we're gonna F and gut these guys and be about at a 50. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I voted for less than that, but then we came to a decision as a group. Damon Dog and Bo outvoted me. I wanted about 35%. But I said, you know what? You better make the picture of JG sad. He's a sad boy right there. and again, like if they lose this week against San Francisco, how far on that graphic down is JG's little head going to go? Because it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. The gut meter is taking a gut check right now.
Yeah.
However, we will persevere because it's game prediction time with your boys. Nick in the chat saying, goddamn, Johnny and Bo been going through it all week. You guys need couples counseling. This is our couples counseling. You guys just get to watch it every single day. And right now, the game preview starts. Can the Arizona Cardinals beat the Dallas Cowboys? Damon Dog, roll my predictions. No, they cannot. I love this team. I think they cover for the 3rd week against the spread. I think Dallas wins this game by 10 points. Right now, the spread, 12, 12.5, 13, depending on where you get it. Cardinals are plus 500 with our friends at BetMGM. I would love to be wrong. I've been wrong the first 2 weeks. Maybe this is, how to do it. Predict against this team. They get a dub. If they are going to produce, it's got to be with these 3 individuals right here. Hollywood Brown, no Trevon Diggs. Take advantage. Like, he had an alligator arms drop last week, but then he had a couple nice targets. Like, I have not seen this team be able to target Hollywood Brown deep. I'm watching Deebo Samuel last night break tackles. Like, I know that's not Hollywood's game, but Hollywood wants to be a $15 million player a year. Like, let's see him get some yak. Help your quarterback. That's the theme of this fucking week. Help your quarterback, Joshua Dobbs. Yards after catch. Elevate Joshua Dobbs. And Hollywood Brown, they traded a 1 for him. I know that wasn't Austin Ford. How about go off, catch a 20-yard pass and turn it into 60 yards, Debo style? Would love to see that from Hollywood Brown. On the flip side, Kazir White. I specifically picked this because Isaiah Simmons made Dak's life a living hell 2 years ago. We covered that. I think Kazir White can do that. Kazir White, really good in week 1, relatively quiet last week. He's the alpha on this defense. He wears the green dot for a reason. Get your unit in order, Kazir White. You guys peed the bed in the second half against Danny Dimes last week. Get it together. Make Dak uncomfortable. Put everybody in positions to be successful. And how about a Kazir White pick 6? We'd absolutely love to see that. I'm a big fan of Kazir White. I think he has a huge game this week, again, enforcing some kind of turnover against Dak Prescott. Then my X factor is one of my favorite players on the Cardinals, Paris Johnson Jr., who I think right now, outside of Will Hernandez, is the best offensive lineman this team has. I'm going to ask you again, is it good to have 0 quarterback hits this year? How about 0 sacks allowed? If he does that again this week and he gets a little DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons in his face, crown his ass. Crown him Rookie of the Year. Because again, what the Cowboys front has been able to do to opposing offensive lines, like poor Mekhi Becton, and then whatever the hell the Giants did week 1, like Andrew Thomas still hasn't recovered. Everybody's like, oh no, what's going to happen to Paris Johnson Jr.? He's got to face Micah Parsons and Nick Bosa the next 2 weeks. Guys, that's the NFL. Like, you drafted Paris Johnson Jr., 6 overall, 4 matchups like this. It's like everybody was like, Isaiah Simmons is going to be the elixir against Travis Kelce and George Kittle. He's going to erase. Theoretically, that's what he was supposed to do. And then that didn't work out, right? Evidence of that, last night, George Kittle against Isaiah Simmons. Right now, Paris Johnson Jr. was drafted for games like this, to be a stonewall to help your quarterback win games. I think they lose, but I think these 3 players, if they do win, play exceptionally well.
I was looking at Kazir White's performances against the Dallas Cowboys last year as a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. The first time he faced them, pretty rock solid, right? Rated out over 80, according to PFF, and then Red's not good in PFF. It's under 30, but he had a sack in that game. So hopefully, up and down performances against the Dallas Cowboys, and hopefully it's one of those up performances. Let's take a look at my prediction for week 3 against the Dallas Cowboys. I've got the Cowboys winning this 29-20, but if the Arizona Cardinals are going to be competitive in this game, if they're going to shock the world and win this game, it's going to come down to the Cardinals establishing the run. What do we hear all offseason long about this offense, Johnny? What did they want to do?
They wanted to be a running football team. They wanted to go north and south 60% of the time.
Run the ball, and then run some more. Go James Conner, get some Keontae Ingram carries in there, mix that in. Run to your strong side as well as your strengths. Run the Paris Johnson, your X Factor side, along with Will Hernandez. Get Trey McBride involved. Don't run the Elijah Wilkinson's, DJ Humphries, and Zach Ertz's side. Run to your strength. Let's not try to shy away from that. Drew Petzing, let's not try to overthink things. Just play to your strengths and try to blow guys off the football and have James Conner. He's looked so spry. He's looked so fresh in the first 2 weeks of the season. Let's see if he can continue that, have another 100-yard performance. And then we talked about, that offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys, where Terrence Steele seems to be kind of their liability, I guess, because you got Tyron Smith on the other side. It's been so consistent for so long. The guy that Zaven Collins is going to be lining up against, I think that he's got to be able to take advantage of that. And, he had a solid week last week. He had a half a sack. The week before, he had the pick. He had the fumble recover. We got to continue to see Zaven Collins emerge as a budding pass rush star for this team and work his way towards the team picking up his 5th-year option. This is a great opportunity for him, and I'm not going to get off the pass rush. My X factor is going to be Victor Dimukeje, who also gets some reps on that side of the edge for the Arizona Cardinals, and he's going to be a guy that can also, rotating in. Collins comes off, Dimukeje comes on. They're all being disruptive and getting after Dak Prescott, making him feel real uncomfortable on Sunday.
What is really frustrating is because the Cardinals have won the turnover battle. They had 150 yards rushing last week. They didn't turn the ball over against the Giants. They still lost. They checked the boxes of what you need to do to win NFL games, and they're 0-2 right now. And I think if you're looking for a silver lining this season, that you assume when this team's got a little bit more talent, especially when K1 comes back, they're going to win games like that. That to me is a testament of good coaching. For them to beat Dallas, they have to play a perfect game. Like I don't think that's hyperbole to say. You have to play what you played the first half of last week. You got to carry it on for 3 or 4 quarters, and that's doable because McCarthy has been known to vomit all over himself during games, hypothetically, and not be able to have clock management and just really, Bo, you've talked about this all week. They have not been challenged at all. They have not been in a 1-possession game in the second half. It feels like they've been on cruise control. They haven't been tested at all. They've been anointed in the NFC. They've taken over the NFC East. It's just like, this is really the same team as last year. I mean, last year's team got knocked around. Sure, they had a nice end of the season, but I mean, again, they're without their number 1 corner now. I mean, like, I think Brandon Cooks has been kind of an underwhelming addition for them, and it's still Dak Prescott. So I think the Cardinals are in a position right now. If I'll make a prediction right now, if they're leading at halftime for the 3rd consecutive week, they will win this game. If we come on our halftime show on Sunday, myself, BG, live in studio, your definitive Arizona Cardinals halftime show, if they're leading at half, they're going to win this game. They're not going to blow it for a 3rd consecutive week. Again, where they're going to get in trouble is if they're down, Cliff Kingsbury style, double-digit points in the first half. Yeah, they're in trouble.
I mean, I want, a couple weeks from now when they have this Sunday night matchup with the San Francisco 49ers, they say, okay, well, the Niners look great. What happened with Dallas in week 3 against the Cardinals? Like, why did they look so bad? Like, and that's going to be up to Nick Rollis and Jonathan Gannon to kind of right the wrongs that we saw in the second half defensively against Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. But
every podcast hit I did this week, Bo, people were asking from a Dallas perspective, like, you should be 2-0 against this division that the Cowboys play in. Like, what happened? Give me a rationale. It's just this team has some shortcomings from a talent perspective that can rear their ugly head at any point, right? It's like that lady who spins plates on the unicycle, right? You can only keep that going for so long because you don't have Chandler Jones and Diop and J.J. Watt to clean up the mess, right? To play backyard football. You don't have Kyler Murray to convert for you with his legs on 3rd and 13. Think about how many times the Cardinals have won games like that over the course of the last couple of years. Like, that's not a thing anymore, at least right now. And so that to me, why these first 2 games have been disheartening, but at the same time fun to watch, is they've been very competitive. I really hope and pray that this is not the first week where it's like, this is not watchable football. Yeah. I don't think it will be, but I'm concerned about that.
So far, what they've shown is they have players that are making plays early in the game. They're flashing, but when it comes down to making plays to win the game, we haven't seen it happen on either side of the football. Like, we've seen Dennis Gardeck rack up 3 sacks in the first 2 games, but has he gotten that one that ends a drive in the 3rd or 4th quarter? We just haven't seen that. And I'm not singling out, Dennis Gardeck. Nobody on the defense made that play last week. 4th and 11 with Daniel Jones. They have a chance to get off the field. All they have to do is tackle him before the sticks, and they can't get to him because Kazir White is in hot pursuit. You can't catch up with Danny Dimes. It was backbreaking. They continued that drive, turned into a touchdown. They can't have that kind of breakdown. What lead are you safe with? So you say if they get to halftime and they have, what lead is safe after seeing 28-7?
Well, listen, I'm going out on a limb. Like, if they're winning at halftime, they're still going to be plus money. I would say at least plus 200 on BetMGM. I'll do you guys one better. If they're leading the halftime, right after the post-game show is over, or the halftime show is over, I will put a sizable amount on the Cardinals money line at halftime because it's still going to be plus money. But no lead is safe with this team. But I do think that this 3rd time's the charm. Halftime adjustments. I'm going to tell you somebody else who I think is going to have a good game. You might be surprised by this, Bo Brock, because he's not busy. Right, he's busy in the film room and he's on the practice field. He's not watching Wisconsin and Purdue right now. Damon Dog, pull this up for me. So J.J. Watt on Twitter attempted to FaceTime Rondell Moore. Couldn't get a hold of him because Wisconsin's beating Purdue's ass right now on some ridiculous Friday night game. It's because Rondell Moore is getting ready to beat the Dallas Cowboys this week. And that's my theory. Rondell Moore, who was an afterthought last week, he cost you money with your over-under with receiving yards. Could this be a good sign? Maybe they FaceTime all the time. It's like, no. I'm gonna get my mind right to take advantage of Dan Quinn's defense with no Trevon Diggs.
I mean, Rondell Moore is just smart. He's not going to pick up that phone when this beatdown is happening to his beloved Boilermakers. You see JJ Watt's name pop up, you know exactly why he's calling. He's not just calling to catch up and say, hey, did you catch my broadcast on CBS on Sunday? Or, hey, I've got a couple hot tips on how you can beat Dallas defensive backs on Sunday.
Can Watt suit up for this game, by the way? Can we just get Watt in pads for this game?
Can he just be part of the front five, be in that rotation, please? Can we please just see that? Rondell Moore's dealing with, Howard Balzer pointed out, like week 1, Rondell Moore got fined for a hit on the sidelines.
You're saying, did he get a second job? That's why he's not watching the game. He's working nights to.
Yeah, well, he's trying to figure out do you remember anything that stuck out that Rondell Moore did that was like finable offense in the NFL? And he was still trying to figure that out. I was talking to him at his locker today. So I guarantee he just knew exactly where JJ Watt was coming from. And it's just like when Johnny hits me up after hours, I just hit, yep, nope, we'll talk tomorrow, bud.
That's usually because anything that Bo has tried to make a point on goes up in flames, Colt McCoy style. I'll tell you what's not going up in flames is my love affair with Fubo TV. Fubo TV right now, folks, like the Pac-12 network, say what you want about it. It's been elite this year because the Pac-12's been elite, and the one place I can watch Pac-12 network, Fubo TV. FuboTV.com/PHNX. Pac-12 network plus 140 live channels. It's my go-to for college football this year and NFL. They've got Cardinal games, NFL Network. How about the Red Zone? Again, FuboTV.com/PHNX. They've got like 1,000 hours of like cloud DVR, no extra charge. I mean, it's the premier streaming television service. I love it. Watch all your favorite, again, college football games. They've got Ryder Cup, U.S. Open for tennis. It's like the mecca for sports coverage, and we're going to hook you up. How about this? FuboTV.com/PHNX. Use the bonus code 15% off your first month with Fubo Pro. So I might be watching a little Caleb Williams ASU on Saturday night, which, by the way, is sold out. I can't get a ticket. So, I'm just going to pop on Fubo TV, watch our precious Sun Devils try to slow down Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams. And I would imagine the one place that you can watch it with our friends at FuboTV.com/PHNX.
You want to get access also this weekend to the member Discord, become a diehard today. Of course, get all the content, go PHNX.com, but you get that Discord access. We'll be talking live during the game. I'll be at the stadium. Johnny will be hanging out with Britton Golden here in studio. We'll all be having a grand old time breaking down what's going on in the field of play for the Arizona Cardinals. You also get a free shirt or hat when you become a diehard today. You can get this Greg Torch T-shirt. You can get this sick PHNX, celebration end zone T-shirt that Johnny has on. You have the hats as well. Don't miss out. Become a diehard today. Go PHNX.com, PHNXlocker.com as well. Read all the great work. Gerald Bourguet for the Suns, Craig Morgan of the Coyotes. We've got our guy Howard Balzer for the Cardinals. Don't miss out on anything. Go PHNX.com. Become a diehard today. And I know we are going to, I'm sure on our social, we'll announce the winner of the 2 tickets to this Sunday's game against the Cowboys. Is there still time to get in on this?
It looks like there's still time.
Okay. So last chance to get in. Just get your phone out, scan this QR code, sign up for our daily newsletter, and be entered to win. You can also find this QR code on our social right now at PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter. You can scan that QR code if it goes away here on screen, or if you're listening on your podcast.
Great stuff in the chat today. Again, this fan base is due for a W, and it's going to come. And we talked about it before the season. They're going to win games this year that they were not supposed to win, that they weren't projected to win. And, last week, 4 line, the week before that, 7.5 at Washington. I mean, Cardinals money line eventually, plus money is going to win you money. Is it going to be this weekend, next weekend, maybe the week after against Cincinnati? They're not favored in any game, which means there's opportunities to make money with our friends at BetMGM. So do yourself a favor, start to dabble. Again, we mentioned the bonus code PHNX, $200 in free bets for just $10 right now. Bo Brock ahead of Sunday. What do you got for me?
An elite screen name here. Is that Brock Attack? Who is that? Can you see it? Fubo never buffers. It's nice.
It's your burner on your laptop.
Is that my burner? Mm-hmm. Look at that. Look at that avatar.
That's something. Cool. That's certainly a choice.
Brock_attack is that's I think I've got my new favorite PHNX viewer / listener.
Brock
Johnny,
Attack
where's yours, bro?
Those people, listen, we talk off air. I don't need this. Whatever this is, good luck to Bo with, I'm just kidding. We love the support. I'm sure there's a couple people out there that Brock Attack. I don't know what you would say about me. The Johnny Hive, the Pumpkin King Hive, Wing Attack.
King. So many ways you can attack it. I guarantee you, will be in there soon.
Nah, you guys find something better to do with your time. Like subscribing to PHNX Cardinals wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Drop a like. Chasing Johnny Hype. I'm gonna be hyped if they win this weekend. I have been very, very disappointed each of the last two post-game shows when victory has been snatched away from my precious Arizona Cardinals. I can't remember what it's like to do a post-game show when they've won the game. I mean, last year against the Rams, that was the last dub they got. I don't even remember what that was. I don't even remember what we talked about on that show. I need a victory Monday. And again,
you know what that stupid show was about?
What was that show about?
Colt McCoy came out and just ran the offense, and he looked great. And people are like, and Kyler Murray wasn't playing well. People were talking about a quarterback controversy. You don't remember that?
I guess I blocked that out too.
Man, how long ago was that? How long ago does that make you feel like it was?
Forever. Didi, the PHNX, the best Cardinals podcast. Let's go. Cardinals 0-17. Here we come. Oh my God. I already kind of went through like my 7 steps of grief earlier this week when I thought maybe that would happen, Didi. I don't want to go back to that dark place, but there's always Monday's show. In the meantime, like and subscribe. Low Tone Capone saying Johnny's yeah, maybe. Oh, I do have one announcement that I want to make. This is serious, very serious. So for the better part of the entirety of my employment here on PHNX Cardinals, especially since Bo has been here, both he and Saul Bookman have made fun of my shoes, dad shoes, old man shoes. I do wear the same $30 Under Armour shoes that our guy Howard Balzer wears. So I have made a purchase, and I will be debuting new shoes that hopefully everybody likes on the post-game show. And pregame show.
Magic shoes.
Not Forrest Gump style. Come Sunday. So pregame, halftime, postgame, I will have brand new shoes that I hope everybody approves of. Hopefully they're good enough for snobby Bo Brock and Saul Bookman. They get your stamp of approval. God forbid I wear my $30 Under Armour shoes like my guy Howard Balzer, twinsies on the sideline at training camp. So I'm excited about the shoes. Hopefully you guys approve.
Can't wait. I cannot wait for you to show off your new shoes. We're so excited for you, Johnny. You got your new kicks, and they're going to be debuting on Sunday. Britton's going to get to see him in person. I'm going to have to see him. It'll be a good
test, like if they're legit. Because if they're not, he'll look me in the eye and be like, these ain't it.
Are they name brand?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Britton's going to be dripping. 100%. He always
he's been in the lab. If you follow Britton on Instagram, he's in like CrossFit gyms cutting up as I'm eating my third snack of the day. He's something else, man. I do have to give Britton some grief though. And I'll bring this up on the pregame show.
Okay.
I'm a big Joker fan. He's got a Joker tattoo on his leg. It's not a Heath Ledger Joker. It's not a Jack Nicholson Joker or Mark Hamill Joker. I'm pretty sure it's Jared Leto from Suicide Squad. So I might have to talk to him about why he opted to go with Jared Leto. Be interesting.
Okay. All right.
Lots of sub layers to this Dallas Cowboy.
A lot of pop culture references, and we're gonna see if Britton Golden goes, what are those for Johnny Venerable? You got to tune in Sunday to the premiere, the definitive Cardinals pregame show, halftime show, postgame show. It's all right here. PHNX. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit that damn like button. There's more than 150 people here, and we only have so many likes. Let's up that a notch. Get it out there. Get it in front of more eyes in YouTube land, and of course, wherever you find podcasts. 5-star rating, review goes a long way. Thanks to everybody who tuned in this week. We're logging off tomorrow, and then we're back at it Sunday. We'll talk to you then.